Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to EFL Championship predictions. The Championship is back, Sophie, after the dreaded international break. How are you doing?
Yes, very well, although the performance I put in before the international break wasn't the best, was it?
Yes, it was a 10-5 win for me after I called it lucky last time that you were 5 points ahead. I didn't
so
mean
you
that.
Got lucky?
No, I didn't mean that.
So
we're now
was.
level on points,
right.
69-69. It's level going into the next set of games, so let's see who has the best predictions. Before we get into the predictions themselves, guys, just a reminder, please do make sure to show some support. 750 likes on this one. Yes, please. Let's hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't already, make sure to do it and support the channel. And if you haven't already subscribed, do make sure to do so as we push towards 41,000 subscribers. It's free to subscribe, so please do get involved to keep up to date with the channel. Let's get into the fixtures, Sophie, starting with Friday night's game in New York. Well, at the New York Stadium. Rotherham United take on Ipswich Town. And this one is interesting because if you rewind a couple of years ago, they were both in League One. And I think Rotherham have a decent record against Ipswich, if I remember correctly. I remember them beating them a couple of times back in League One. But everything's different now.
Yeah, Ipswich are a completely different team.
The two of them are in the Championship. Rotherham don't tend to play as well in the Championship as they do in League One.
True.
And Ipswich are looking ridiculously hard to stop at the moment.
Yeah.
Can I see Rotherham United breaking down this Ipswich team, or at least frustrating them, even getting a draw off them? I don't think so. I think Ipswich have got so many good players that, you know, there's so many different players that can chip in with the goals, if that makes sense. They've got so much quality. The team's been built up really, really well by McKenna. And there will be some tough tests to come for Ipswich, but I think Ipswich Town win this one, and they just keep this form up a bit longer. They might open up a gap which is just not going to be able to be closed in the second half of the season. I think you've got to give Rotherham United a lot of credit for getting a 1-1 draw against Southampton before the international break, but I'm going for Ipswich Town to win 0-2.
I'm going 3-0. You can't not back Ipswich, the form they're in at the moment. You just wonder, when's it going to go wrong? Because surely they can't maintain this the whole season.
Why not?
Well, I mean, yeah, why not? But I can't see it happening at this rate. They're going to have to drop a few points here and there, but I don't see it happening against Rotherham. I think McKenna's doing a great job with the team he's got, and they're all just playing for each other, and I think that's the best thing you can have in the team, like that culture there, and yeah, they're killing it. So 3-0 for me.
It just feels as if everything's come together perfectly for Ipswich, though.
Yeah.
But like, McKenna's a really good manager. There's a lot of hype around him. The squad they've built together, the fans are all on board.
Yeah.
Like
Decent fan base as well, always helps.
Yeah, it's not now or never for Ipswich, but now is a big opportunity, should we say. Right, so let's move on to the next game. We'll go to Deepdale for Preston North End taking on Millwall. Now, Preston are still third, just goes to show how good their start to the season was, despite not winning in 3 or 4. I think it's 3 defeats in a row, no wins in 4. They've been conceding a lot. That's worth mentioning.
Yes.
I think it was 4 against Ipswich, 4 against West Brom, 3 against Leicester. They need to go back to the basics, and what they were good at was clean sheets. Tight games, which they can win. If they get a clean sheet here, I think they pinch it. If they don't, I don't think they win. I think Preston score 1 goal, and I'm going to go for them to get back to winning ways. Millwall are just too inconsistent for me. Overall, I do think Millwall are a team that are going to push for the playoffs, but maybe with it being at Deepdale, Preston have had 2 weeks to be like, right, let's go away, let's reset. Okay, let's start again. I think Preston win this. Clean sheet and a 1-0 win.
Yeah, I think a clean sheet would be massive. I was half tempted to say a 0-0 draw, to be honest, because at times I find the two quite hard to separate. They're two Championship teams, in my eyes, that they've been in the Championship for a little while now, and they just seem a little bit on par for me. But again, as you say, Millwall have been a little bit inconsistent this season. So yeah, I might agree with you and lean towards Preston, but I don't see them keeping a clean sheet. 2-1 for me.
Okay, 2-1 Preston.
Yeah.
Okay, we're both going for Preston for that one. Do get your predictions down below for the game at Deepdale. Next up, Sophie, let's go across to the other side of Lancashire. We've got Blackburn Rovers taking on Cardiff City. This one's interesting because the table suggests we should go for Cardiff City, but there's a bit more to it than that. Blackburn have actually beaten Cardiff City in the Carabao Cup this season. They beat them at Ewood Park. And despite Cardiff being much further up the table, mainly due to the 4 wins they got in a row, they've not won in their last 2 games, and Blackburn got a 4-0 win over QPR going into the international break. So their confidence should be up a bit. And having watched Blackburn against Coventry the game before that, I thought they were unlucky. I thought they played good stuff in the first half. Yeah. I think Blackburn win this. And Cardiff's form is just shaking a little bit. But in general, Cardiff's next few fixtures look favourable. So I do think they probably climb in the next couple of games. But on this occasion, I am going for Blackburn Rovers, 2-1.
Okay, I'm actually going to back a draw here. I don't think Cardiff have had a bad start to the season at all, to be honest, better than I expected. So I'm going to give them some credit and say they walk away with a point. So 1-1 for me. Yeah,
1-1. I'm walking away with a point. Right, let's go to the next one, Sophie. We'll go down to Ashton Gate as Bristol City take on the mighty Sky Blues. Coventry City come into this drawing. We've drawn 6 out of 11, so that's more than half. That's crazy, isn't it?
So guess what we're going to back?
Well, yeah, without giving anything away. But we need to do some rambling first. Let's talk about Bristol City, who have been pretty good, actually.
Right, yeah.
They're level on points with Coventry, so a win for either team here puts them close to the playoffs. Both sides are 3 points outside of 6th place. And yeah, they look all right. They've got quite a few different goal scorers in Bell, Naki Wells, and I've spoken about Nigel Pearson, the continuity there. Not easy to go to Ashton Gate. Their fans are quite passionate, big stadium and that.
I like the ground, actually. I will like that.
Yeah, and to be honest, if you think back to last season, Bristol City and Coventry, it was 2 draws against each other. Yeah. So now it's time to reveal what we're going to go for.
What are we going to go for?
I'm going to go for a draw. I did back Coventry to draw 1-1 with Norwich before the international break, and it came in. Now, obviously, I would rather win. I would rather Coventry City go and beat Bristol City. But right now, I just think a draw is going to play out, and especially having been, having had a 2-week international break, which Coventry don't tend to be great after, I'm going to sit on the fence here. And I don't think it's a totally terrible result, although Coventry do need to get some more wins on the board. I'm going to go Bristol City 1, Coventry 1.
Yeah, and shock horror, I'm going for the same, a 1-1 draw. Coventry have been very draw heavy. I don't think it'd be a terrible result. As you say, coming back at the international break, we're never really any good. However, we might have a few players returning from injury, which gives us better odds, but I wouldn't be disheartened with a 1-1 draw, so I can see it happening as well.
Okay, yeah, both go for a 1-1. Interesting. Do share your thoughts down below if you're a Robins fan or a Sky Blues fan. I just feel very down the middle on that one. Next up, Sophie, we'll go to Huddersfield Town, who take on Queen's Park Rangers. Interesting. Huddersfield have had a manager who's recently just come in Darren Moore. QPR have a manager who could soon be going out. I hope that's not the case, but there is a sense of QPR need to get something from this one. Yeah, and yeah, like you just mentioned there, I was going to lead on to that. I think QPR are better away from home, so that makes me think they might get something here. But Huddersfield, so they've got to be desperate for a win because they've still not won under Darren Moore. They've drawn most of them.
As you said.
Yeah, Darren draw. They've drawn most of those games, but they need to get a win, really. Do you know what? Go down the middle. I don't think it's great for either. I think this is one of those which both really need to win.
They do.
Maybe QPR slightly happier with a draw because they're further down the table. But yeah, what I'm going to go for here is Huddersfield 1, QPR 1.
So I'm going to go for a bit of an upset, actually. I'm going to back QPR just because they really need a win and their home form is shocking. So whilst you're away, try and get the 3 points. And against Huddersfield, where they are quite draw heavy, I feel like this is a good opportunity for Gareth Ainsworth to walk away with the 3 points, and I see him doing it. 2-1.
2-1. Yeah, I was tempted to go that way, but
really?
I've gone down the middle for a Darren draw. Yeah. Okay, 2-1 QPR. Right, next up, Safe. This one's interesting. To the KCOM or the KC, it's Hull City versus Southampton. Both sides are, I think, level on points with about 17 points. They're both just outside the playoffs. I think Hull City are 8th or 9th and Southampton are 10th. So they're really close next to each other. I think it's very possible one of these could get in, and I'm not sure which one it would be. You'd maybe think Southampton are more likely to make the playoffs at the end of the season as a newly relegated side, parachute payments, squad quality, decent manager in Russell Martin. But Hull City have got a very decent manager in Rosenia, and they've only lost 2 games. And I don't think they lose this one. Southampton are a bit inconsistent for me, but maybe Southampton don't lose it either. I'm actually going to sit on the fence again. I'll be honest, if I had to tip one team, I would tip Hull City here.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to go for a draw. 1-1.
No, the Tigers are winning this one. Yeah. I don't see it being a high-scoring game, actually. I can see it being quite tight, quite cagey at times. Southampton having more of the possession. But as we said, Hull are looking quite good. And I can see them getting this over the line. 1-0 to the Tigers.
Wow, okay. Let's just grind it out.
Yeah.
Right, maybe the biggest game of the weekend, Soph. I like the way this one's been set up. Let's go to Middlesbrough versus Birmingham City. This one's big now, Soph, because Middlesbrough are flying. Let's talk about their last result before the international break. 4-0 away at Sunderland.
Yeah. I mean, did anyone see that come in? I don't even think their fans seen that
We
come
both
in.
backed Sunderland. So,
I wasn't going to talk about that.
Well, let's be straight about this. Let's put our hands up. We're sorry, Middlesbrough fans. Our judgment was clouded, and we'll make it up to you.
Again.
We'll make it up to you. This one I favour Middlesbrough for, despite them being 16th and Birmingham being 10 places higher. Let's talk about Birmingham though. A change in management.
I don't agree with this.
Okay.
I mean, it's very, very early days, but why would you sack a manager when you're 6th in the table? Apparently it was like talked about months before, and
they had to wait for him to end at DC United.
At DC United, yeah, but I can't wrap my head around it at the moment.
Yeah. Justice for John Eustace.
Yeah. So I hope you go down that table now.
Oh, that'd be horrible.
I actually don't mind Blues.
Well, no, I like them. Remember, they shared their stadium with us, so I've got a bit of a soft spot for Blues. Yeah, I do actually hope it works out with Wayne Rooney, but you can't help but feel sorry for John Eustace, to be honest. Middlesbrough flying, their form's been great. Birmingham have been pretty good. Their last two results before the international break were 4-1 over Huddersfield, 3-1 over West Brom. But the change in management makes it incredibly hard to know what's going to happen. So,
Middlesbrough win.
Yeah, I don't know what the basis is for this prediction, but I think Middlesbrough's form is looking good, and with them being at home, I think they edge it. Birmingham maybe get a goal, but I'm going to go Middlesbrough 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going to say 3-1 Middlesbrough. I feel like it could be a little bit shaky at Birmingham with the new manager coming in. You never know whether they're going to have like a positive bounce, and continue that positive streak, or if things get a little bit shaken with tactics and etc, etc. But as we've said, Middlesbrough are on the up, and I feel like it's going to continue after this international break. So 3-1 to Borough.
3-1 to Borough. I like it. Big prediction there. Right, another big game in the Championship, Safe, is at Carrow Road. Norwich City versus Leeds United. Tasty, isn't it?
Yes.
Year 1 parachute team away at a year 2 parachute team. Norwich City, we saw them just before the international break. I thought in the first half they played pretty well against Coventry. And I think the Norwich fans can be aggrieved at their team for kind of taking their foot off a bit in the second half.
Massively.
And they've dropped 2 points there. It did look like they might actually get the result over the line, but a great header from Gibson.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, brilliant header.
Brilliant header.
Handed Coventry a point. Leeds United, Soph, they keep winning. Their form's been better. I backed them to beat Bristol City 2-1, and they went and did that, didn't they? I am going to edge Leeds again. I like Leeds. I really like Leeds. I reckon they're the best threat to Ipswich this season. And if Ipswich do drop points, like you think they might, Leeds United are going to be the team that catches them. So, Norwich, I'm going to say they get a goal, but they are actually suffering with a couple of injuries in the striker department. So, Norwich 1, and I think Leeds pinch this. Leeds 2.
See, I see it being a little bit more convincing on Leeds' part here. As we said, Norwich, they looked good at times, but you can't afford to take foot off the gas, not for a whole second half. And you definitely can't afford to do it against someone like Leeds with the quality they have. And yeah, I see it being quite a good performance from Leeds happening. So 2-0.
2-0. Interesting. 2-0 to Leeds United. Share your thoughts down below if you support Norwich or Leeds. Let's go on to Stoke City, Soph. They take on Sunderland. Stoke, Sophie, they are just above the bottom 3 in 21st place.
Yes.
If any of the bottom 3, mainly Rotherham or QPR, get a move on, Stoke are going to drop down there. They have got a bit of a buffer over Sheffield Wednesday, because Sheffield Wednesday have not picked up any wins yet. But they're playing Sunderland, and Sunderland, difficult to put your finger on. They had been looking pretty good, but then 4-0 against Middlesbrough, and there's a red card in there as well. So I think Sunderland, their confidence will be knocked a little bit, but I do think they can bounce back and just sneak 3 points out of this one. Stoke City, so I can't even put my finger on it.
No.
I give up with them. I really do give up with them. I want them to do well.
And they had a really good summer transfer window. I was literally
about to come on to that. Their window was really impressive.
I was like thinking, okay, they could have a good season here.
So I would say a manager potentially in trouble is Alex Neil.
Yeah.
He's got to turn it around, and I don't think he does here. Remember, this is the team he walked out on, Sunderland, and I reckon there's going to be some revenge in store. Tony Mowbray, Sunderland, going to sneak a 1-0 away win.
Yeah, I think Sunderland just need to put that last result behind them now, and they've had a couple of weeks to do so, and I feel like one bad result, it's not the end of the world. It's not like you've had multiple on the bounce, so put it behind you, move on, and I feel like this is the perfect game to do this with. So I feel like they're going to restore some confidence. 3-0 to the Black Cats.
Wow, 3-0 to the Black Cats. Okay, next up, so this is a really juicy game. It's a real battle between some form teams at Swansea City versus Leicester City. Swansea are flying, Sophie. They've overtaken Coventry and Bristol and Middlesbrough. They've jumped into 12th place, 3 points outside the playoffs, and they're hosting top of the table Leicester. Leicester's a game you don't want to come up against in the Championship, but you've got to. Yeah. But when you do, you want to be in the kind of form Swansea are. It gives you the best chance of getting something out of this game, and I think this will be close. But I just can't go against Leicester. They just keep winning, don't they? I think what could happen here is Leicester take the lead. Swansea probably spend the majority of the game battling and probably score a late equaliser for Leicester to then snatch it 2-1.
The 97th minute.
Yeah, so that's my prediction here. I think Swansea play some good stuff, but Leicester just find a way. They've got too much quality. Swansea 1, Leicester 2.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to not back Leicester week in, week out. But I'm actually going to say it's going to be a draw here. Swansea are going to really have to fight for this draw, but the form they're in, I can see it happening. So 1-1.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of an upset, I guess, but
I was torn between that and the Leicester win, but
yeah, well, Leicester do just get it over the line, so it probably will be 2-1, but I'm backing the draw. Okay,
2 games left, Sophie. Let's go to Vicarage Road, where Watford take on Sheffield Wednesday. It is worth mentioning, Sheffield Wednesday have now brought in a new manager. Can you see them having any chance of staying up, though?
Possibly.
Yeah,
maybe. Know. It is too early to say, like, no, you can't write them off right now, but
true.
Let's just see. Give it a few weeks, and if they've not improved at all under this new manager, then you're starting to think, lost hope.
One thing worth pointing out is Sheffield Wednesday's next 2 games are against Plymouth and Rotherham. So they're 2 games you really need to target. If you don't win any of these next 3 now, surely we're starting to say, okay, they've got 1 foot in League One.
Yeah.
But let's see. They take on Watford. Watford have not been great themselves. Watford are only a few points above them. Maybe Sheffield Wednesday can look at this as a game, where they can pull Watford down into the equation. I do just think, though, Watford at home, Watford with the quality, Watford win this. I'm going to say Watford 2-0, but I will say that Sheffield Wednesday have now got a new manager, and I hope they've got hope, to be honest. I hope they've got something to cling on to going forwards, and I really want them to get their first win soon. But I am going to back the Hornets.
Yeah, I'm going to back Watford as well. As I've just said, we don't know how this is going to go with the new appointment at Sheffield Wednesday, but this could be a tricky game. Or, as you say, they are quite low down in the table, Watford, at the moment. So they are kind of part of that relegation battle very early on in the season. But no, I see them getting the 3 points. When they play good football, they can walk a game, and I see them doing this. But I'm going to give Sheffield Wednesday a goal here. 2-1.
You're giving them a goal.
Just
okay.
A goal.
Let's go on to the final game then, Sophie. We're going back up to the West Midlands as West Bromwich Albion host Plymouth Argyle. Plymouth, who've had a decent start to the season, have had a little bit of a wobble recently because they've lost their last 2 home games, and that's where they picked up the bulk of their points. So if you're going to start dropping points there, you will have to make up with it with points on the road. So, Plymouth might be coming here thinking, let's get a point, pushes us a bit further up the table. I think it'd be close, but I just don't actually see it. I think West Brom have the quality and have enough about them to get the 3 points over the line for this one. They've looked really sort of steady so far this season, maybe lacking that bit of consistency, but they look steady enough for top 10. And that's something to go from to then push towards top 6. So I think West Brom win this. Plymouth put up a fight and get a goal, but West Brom 2-1.
Okay, I'm going to say quite a convincing one for me. Plymouth have just taken their foot off the gas, and they're coming up against West Brom, who are going to be full of confidence going into this, and I can see it being quite a convincing one. 3-0 to the Baggies.
Wow, okay,
Yeah.
3-0. That's quite different to me. Well, there you go, guys. That wraps up our Championship predictions. Do get your predictions for those 12 games down below in the comments. If you've enjoyed the video, like I say, do make sure, of course, to drop a thumbs up. It's free to do, and do make sure to subscribe to keep up to date with the channel. You might as well, because we've got Championship midweek predictions coming out on Monday, as there's loads of games to come. Thank you for joining me, Sophie.
Thank you.
We will see you all in the next one. Peace out.